Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're stepping into a seriously futuristic, ultra-realistic command center to uncover what's honestly a massive shift in how we build the digital world. We're looking at how plain, everyday English is literally replacing thousands of lines of complex code. It's an evolution in technology that's moving faster than anything we've seen before, and the implications for both data science and app development are just staggering. So grab a seat in our virtual control room and let's get right into it.
Now picture this. 100,000 rows of data, but 0 lines of code. Imagine being handed a massive, heavy notebook filled with the test marks of 100,000 students, and your boss basically says, hey, find the deepest insights hidden in here. In the past, you'd be staring at a blank screen, mentally preparing to write hundreds of lines of Python just to get a starting point. But today, you can extract every single one of those insights without writing a single line of code yourself. Crazy, right?
Okay, so let's look at phase 1. The data overload problem. Traditionally, being a data scientist is kind of like being a detective. Your whole job is to look at massive amounts of information and answer 3 simple questions. What happened? Why did it happen? And what's going to happen next? It all starts with messy, raw information, like this simple student CSV file with names, ages, and marks. It looks pretty basic, I know, but this exact structure of data is literally the foundation of the modern internet. It's the exact same fundamental concept that multi-billion-dollar giants like Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube rely on to fuel their massive predictive algorithms. They just have, millions of rows instead of 3. To actually process that raw data, the old way demands hours, sometimes days of agonizing syntax. You have to import libraries, clean the data, handle empty values, and build models completely from scratch. We're talking anywhere from 500 to 10,000 lines of code. But we are officially entering a new era. Just look at the new reality, vibe coding. It's literally as simple as typing into a sleek interface. I want a dashboard.
Which brings us to protocol override. Enter vibe coding. Let's formally define what this actually is. Vibe coding is basically the act of describing a goal, or a vibe, in plain English, while an AI instantly generates the complex code, the apps, or the data analytics completely behind the scenes. Instead of acting like a mechanic who has to build an engine from scratch before you can even drive to the store, vibe coding lets you skip straight to the destination. Think of it like ordering a cheese pizza. When you call the pizzeria, you don't need to know how to knead the dough, simmer the sauce, or chop the ingredients. You just state what you want, and boom, the finished product is delivered right to you. There's a quote from the source material that brilliantly captures this shift in modern programming. You simply drive. AI already built the car. The heavy lifting is completely done. The complex syntax, those frustrating syntax errors, that one missing comma that breaks your entire application, AI handles all of that now. You just hold the steering wheel and point the technology in the right direction.
All right, moving into Module 1, Vibe Coding in Data Science. Let's see how this effortlessly shreds right through massive data overload.
Say you download a file with 1 million YouTube comments. Doing any kind of manual analysis on that would be nearly impossible. But with vibe coding, you just prompt your AI assistant, hey, tell me whether people liked this video. Instantly, the AI reads the data, strips out all the spam, categorizes the sentiment into positive and negative, and spits out this stunning, glowing donut chart. All using plain English, all in just a few minutes. It's wild.
Or let's jump back to that messy student CSV file from earlier. You can literally just type, predict next year's top students based on this data. The AI doesn't just read the numbers, it's actively writing a machine learning model in the background to generate precise forecasts. Then it outputs this super clean, interactive bar chart showing the projected scores for Rahul, Ria, and Aman. You didn't write the predictive algorithm, you just asked the right question.
Next up is Module 2, Building Apps with AI. And honestly, this is where the trend gets truly explosive. It's totally revolutionizing how we build custom, fully functional applications using platforms designed specifically for vibe coding, like Base44. You're not just analyzing data anymore, you are actually building the software that houses it.
In the source material, there's this great example where a YouTube creator actually vibe codes their own custom internal operating system to manage their entire content pipeline. They wanted an app to handle brainstorming ideas, AI script generation, tracking video production, all the way to final publishing. So instead of buying off-the-shelf software that forces you to work a certain way, they built this exact pipeline themselves, entirely using plain English prompts.
Platforms like Base44 make this incredibly accessible. You can literally upload a screenshot of an app you like, and the AI will copy its design style, the colors, the layout.
Got a really complex idea? Use the AI planning mode to map the whole thing out. It offers pre-built templates for things like financial dashboards, and it even handles the seriously complex back-end stuff, like custom user authentication and secure logins. Okay, let's look at Module 3, Refining Your AI Creations. The reality of vibe coding is that your very first prompt is almost never your final product. You don't just push a button once and walk away. You kind of have to act like a sculptor, constantly chipping away and refining the application until it perfectly matches your vision. The golden rule for this process is focus. Ask for one major change at a time. For instance, first you tell the AI, move the top menu to a traditional left sidebar. Once that's done, you send a second prompt. Okay, switch the app to dark mode. Then you utilize a vital feature like Act as a User to actually click around and test the functionality yourself. This iterative process is exactly how you turn a basic AI generation into a highly polished professional tool. And for the more advanced users out there, don't worry, you are never locked out of the hood. Vibe coding platforms offer a visual editor where you can just click an element to change its color or text. They automatically route your prompts to the absolute top AI models in the world, whether that's Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, or OpenAI's GPT models. Plus, you can still look at and export the underlying code, while built-in security checks ensure your private API keys and backend data stay completely secure. Which brings us to the final phase. You are Tony Stark. With AI generating incredibly rich data dashboards and complex web apps in literal minutes, a massive existential question naturally pops up for anyone working in tech. And that question is, does this mean coding is dead? Look, a lot of people wrongly assume that because vibe coding exists, they don't need to learn anything at all anymore. They think they can just sit back, press enter, and magically become a millionaire developer or a master data scientist overnight, with zero foundational knowledge. But that is a complete myth. Think about the calculator for a second. We still teach math in schools, right? Why? Because if you mistype something and the calculator tells you 2 + 2 = 9, your human domain knowledge instantly tells you, wait, that's a glitch. The exact same logic applies to AI. You absolutely still need to know what questions to ask your data, how to structure a good user experience, and, most importantly, how to verify the AI's output to catch its logic mistakes. So the crucial point to take away from this explainer is this. You equal Tony Stark and AI equals Jarvis. Tony Stark doesn't sit there turning every single tiny screw by hand to build his suit. He relies on Jarvis to do the heavy lifting of assembly and data processing. But Tony's critical thinking, his strategy, and his creative vision, those remain the absolute most important parts of the process. Your thinking is the ultimate pilot. Now that you don't have to agonize over writing every single line of Python, the barrier to entry has completely vanished. The tools are literally right in front of you, waiting for your commands. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. When AI handles the heavy lifting of syntax and code, what will you build when the only limit is your imagination? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to decode the future.